Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another TCR artist interview. I'm super psyched to be introducing the artist this week. He is located out of Nashville, Tennessee. He's got some really smooth, electric rap bops that I definitely got down to in preparation to this and will get down to after this. Without further ado, welcome to Four.
What's up?
Try to
What up?
build
What
up
up?
the hype. Build up the hype.
What's going on?
I'm so glad to have you. Let's just start
Thank you.
to get to know you a little bit. If you could tell
Right.
us where you got your musical start, where you started getting creative.
I mean, I basically grew up with kind of like a really kind of hectic music taste, I guess, because I was introduced to so much stuff early. So, um, growing up, I was listening to R&B, I was listening to rap, I was listening to pop, I was listening to rock. I mean, I was listening to basically everything. So, by the time I would say eighth grade, maybe, like I was kind of doing some poetry and stuff, but not really like, that was really my music at the time. It was like I was doing poetry or doing like haikus or something, or what I thought was poetry. Um, but so basically, I kind of got into it. And then by my sophomore year in high school, basically, I got entered into a uh, poetry contest, which it was not really my idea. It was like my English teacher. He was like, poetry's really good in the contest. And it was like this like school-wide thing and all stuff. So I was like, okay. But I didn't actually write any poetry. I just wrote a verse. Basically, I wrote like a 16 bar verse. And it was in rap style form, however you want to call it. Like it was a rap basically. And I mean, long story short, I ended up winning like the whole thing and like got my name all over the place and all this stuff. So that was like my first taste of, oh, okay. I mean, I guess I'm okay with this, I guess, you know what I'm saying? Like, cause I wasn't doing music, so I didn't really know if I was any good. Um, so I did that and I was kind of blessed. We had a actual recording studio at my high school. But it was like a specific like recording engineering class. And when I figured out that was even a thing, of course I enrolled in that. And I wasn't writing music at the time, but I was trying to figure out um, making beats and stuff like that, just being in the studio. Like I had never been in the studio before. So I'm sitting there trying to, I'm looking at these buttons and all of these different things going on and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, like I'm starting to kind of get it. I mean, compared to what I know now, I didn't know anything, but like I was slowly but surely trying to figure it out. And then it got to the point where I was like, okay, I need to basically do this thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's come a point like it's like, okay, either I'm gonna do it or I'm not, you know what I'm saying? And I'm the type of person, if I'm gonna do it, I'm usually gonna go full force with it. I'm not really like a halfway type of guy. So I basically got to the point to where I told my dad, I was like, this is what I want to do, let's try it, whatever. So he was like, okay. And my dad, you got to understand, is not one to sugarcoat anything. So if it sucks, he'll be like, no, that sucks. We're not gonna do that. Like we're gonna pick something else. You know what I'm saying? So we actually got in there and did some music and stuff. And he was like, all right, like you might got something. And so I'm thinking, but I'm still like, okay, I'm just doing it for fun. I don't really, get this thing, whatever. So then I go off to college. I had a football scholarship and I was playing football at the time. And so I was at school. It was in the middle of nowhere. I'm of course away from home, all that stuff. And the only thing really that was getting me through was writing music because I was doing 2 days and working out and doing all this other stuff that I needed to do to play football. But like I had the worst luck when I was at this school, apparently. Like I got sick all the time. Like I don't ever get sick. You know what I'm saying? Like I got sick all the time. We was on the field one time, a tornado hit the field. Like it was just so much stuff that like happened at this school where I was just like maybe this is a sign, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe I need to be doing something else. But it got to the point where I was like, I'm kind of falling out of the football thing and I'm really leaning into the music thing now. And that's what I really wanted to do. And so basically I moved back home, and basically I went back to school to I kind of tried to do the school thing again. And I was really just at the point with like, I mean, a lot of the stuff that I've learned on my own. I didn't learn it, in books or when I was in class. And all those classes are like weed out classes and stuff anyway. It's not really teaching me nothing that I'm really going to probably tangibly need as it pertains to what I actually do.
Mhm.
So basically I let go of school basically and started working full time so I could afford studio time and to afford books and to be able to just kind of navigate this whole music thing independently, as much as I can. And that, I guess that would have been 10 years ago now, I guess. Um, which I mean, in kind of music terms, is kind of still kind of short. You know what I'm saying? So it's not really like I've been doing this a super long time, but I'm just now at the point now to where it's all starting to click and starting to make sense. And my writing is getting better, the beat selection is getting better, and people are starting to enjoy it more. And I can kind of hear my own growth, listening to my old songs. Even people like, man, I still like that song you did back in 2005. I'm like, that is trying to, just kind of growing with it. And now, like I said, I'm at the point to where, I mean, I'm not at, where I want to be, but I'm at a place where a lot of people can't necessarily say that they are. So, I'm just kind of taking it as I am. But yeah, that's basically kind of how I got my start. It was kind of simple, but it was a bumpy road in there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting things like you touched on that I kind of want to talk about. Like specifically, I mean, to me, it sounds like education was like kind of a huge part of like why you decided to fully pursue music.
Yeah, like
Uh,
I mean, I would say when people ask me like, what do I need to do, or like just to get to where I'm at, or like knowing the certain things I know and stuff, like good. I mean, it's a wealth of information. I mean, we have the internet. I mean, there's really no reason for you not to be able to find what you're looking for.
right.
I mean, and so kind of how I look at it as you either got a lot of money and you can fast track your way to wherever you're trying to go,
Mhm.
or you, like me, broke college student trying to figure out how I'm gonna pay for studio time. Well, if that's the case, I got to take the slow route and go to the library and get all these books on music business and songwriting tips and um, navigating how, all the small details that nobody will tell you about until you get to a point to where they feel like you need to know. Um, so education has been everything for me because I haven't been given anything, you know what I'm saying? Like I haven't been, I don't have any like handouts from no labels or nothing like that, or I don't have any like cosigns from no majors or nothing like that. So like if you don't have that and you don't have that capital just to say, hey, here's a whole bunch of money,
Mm-hmm.
make me famous, um, you got to take the slow way, which is reading, which is figuring out all the info, and I mean, using social media correctly. I mean, if you're gonna be on social media anyway, you might as well use it to your advantage and figure out a way to make it work for you. So basically, like that's kind of how I get a lot of my beats and find a lot of people that make beats and stuff now. Is that I really, if I didn't really want to, I don't even have to look anymore. People just DM me beats all the time. Like, I mean, it's that's how I make social media work for me. I don't even like being on Instagram. I realize I have to. I realize that like it's kind of a part of the thing. But if I had my choice, I would not be on Instagram. So like I decided to, okay, since I got to be on here anyway, let's make it work. And so I'm all about making it work with what I got. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got a lot, but you keep on a whole bunch of little bit, you're gonna get a lot. So that's kind of where the education stuff comes from. It's the slower way, but when you start to get in these meetings with these big execs and all this stuff, and they start talking language, you might hear some words that you was like, oh, I might not have known what you was talking about, but you almost got me there. You know what I'm saying? Like, or whatever it might be. I mean, these people ain't out here to help you. They out here to make some money. Like, that's it. So once you look at stuff like that, I mean, it would be in your best interest to read some books and to learn some words and terms and all these different stuff that you going. If you don't learn it, I mean, there's too many people and too many examples of people who didn't learn that and now screaming bloody murder about labels and that they broke and all this stuff. When you're like, man, you had all these hits, you should have a ton of money. You should have all these safeguards in place and all this different type of stuff. So yeah, education is key for sure.
Wow. You talked about two different forms of artists. I almost feel like, there's two, there is the persistent artists that
Yeah,
educate themselves and kind of take it upon themselves to do every step of the process, which is totally doable nowadays because of things
right.
like social media, where you
Hmm.
can easily connect with other artists. Like you used to have to rely on a label to, like, oh, you need a bass
Hmm.
guitarist, well, we'll hook you up with a bass guitarist. But now if you're looking for somebody, I mean, all you really have to do is go through social media, or just the internet in general.
Right.
um
Yeah.
and there are still labels that are handing out large checks to be able to make people famous, maybe, but marketable, most definitely. And that's one thing that
Yeah.
we talk about quite a bit, because I think it's a pretty big chunk of what it's going to take to reset the industry, is like putting the power, the financial power, and otherwise, into the hands
Mhm.
of these persistent artists who are doing it all themselves. And I think that you are
Yeah.
a really great example of that. Do you feel like that's accurate?
I would say yes with a caveat. Um, because I think it's kind of gotten misconstrued that labels are like the enemy or that they're the bad guy or whatever.
Right.
The labels do exactly what they tell you they're gonna do. Like they don't trick you out of anything. Like everything is in the paperwork. So I mean, they always gonna go back to the paperwork. You know what I'm saying? So like when basically if people just start and take away the word label and put bank, that's basically what it is. You basically getting a loan and they like, okay, we want you to pay us back plus interest. And you like, okay, got it. You know what I'm saying? Now, yo, okay, got it might be with a couple million, but guess what? You ain't making no money till you make that all of that back.
Mhm.
So, I mean, so that's how people go broke. That's all that stuff because that you spending money you really don't have. I mean, you kind of
Yeah.
spending on air basically.
Mhm.
Um, but to kind of go through like, if a label was to come talk to me tomorrow, will I listen? Of course. I mean, yeah. I mean, it would be stupid of me not to because at the end of the day, no matter what you do as like an independent, which you can basically be your own machine, you can basically be your own label and do that. But you have to also understand that the labels can also get in doors that you cannot being an independent. So there are rooms that are not accessible to me simply because I don't know somebody in a label somewhere.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So do you absolutely need a label? No, that's definitely not the case anymore. Like, but I you can't name that many independents that have turned their career into something super huge, like say like a Russ or somebody like that, without a label being involved at all.
Mhm.
Right.
I feel like
Like,
the only exception to that is TikTok artists. I feel like there's a
yes,
and
or I mean,
Even with TikTok artists,
really, yeah. I mean, I guess you could. Yeah, I don't. I
and I also
mean,
wanted to,
TikTok is just a weird
yeah,
space. So I mean,
but
like
but TikTok likes you. I don't know if you knew that or not, but TikTok likes you.
do they?
Um, just and
And I,
I say that mostly because there's a lot of TikTok playlists which you're featured on,
hmm,
and a lot of new music does come out of TikTok, and it kind of like
yeah,
goes from TikTok to the other platforms.
I would say I'm just now starting to understand the TikTok platform,
Mm,
like
mm,
because I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't like social media. Like it's really not my jam. I mean, I'm a homebody. I'm an introvert. Like I mean, if I'm not in a relationship, I'm antisocial. So I mean, like, it's like, um, what are we doing here? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need all that. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I don't know. It's so many different ways to kind of attack TikTok too. But I mean, as far as what I'm doing now, I'm trying to get more of the smaller micro influencers and stuff like that to make videos and stuff like that. And I'm just now getting my feet wet with that, like, cause it's, I mean, finding TikTok influencers and stuff, it might be easy to do, but it's a lot of these people have like different managers and stuff now, and they are on these different production teams, and like these are like full blown like agencies and stuff at this point. So
Yeah.
like you kind of have to navigate. You can't really like necessarily go straight to the people unless it's like micro influencers. Like there's a guy that I got to play some music not too long ago. He has like 1.2 million followers or something like that, and that's where I'm at. Like I'm trying to do that because I mean, if I can get just a quarter of those people to like 2 4, then I'm in the green. Like that's good for me. So, and I'm just like, I'm not really ever gonna be the person to like just post it on TikTok doing all these crazy dances and stuff. I'm not interested. But I understand. Like I go like if I need some inspiration for something or I need an idea for something. I mean, TikTok is the place to go. I mean, TikTok will surprise you every time. Like, and I mean, it really doesn't matter what you're doing on TikTok. I mean, I never understood TikTok because I thought people were doing stupid stuff and a lot of people was watching it. I don't get it. Like, okay, you molding Play-Doh and people are just gonna sit there and watch that over and over. You got 5 million, you know, and you just, and it's like, I'm like, what are we doing? Like,
Something for everybody.
It is crazy. And so I'm just now starting to, you know, like, okay, like I get it now. I mean, I still think it's dumb, but I mean, I realize I have to get on this train before it leaves me. You know what I'm saying?
I
So,
think it's okay that you like that, though. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like
yeah,
we have a
yeah.
lot
I
of
mean,
people
it's,
not like that.
I don't know. It's so much. It's just so much out there now that, and people getting over so creative. Like, I mean, I've never like we have as a society, as in like in the world, we have never been more creative than now. Like, there's no way with the amount of stuff people are doing and flipping stuff and ticking tocking and tweeting and IGing and stuff. I mean, it's crazy.
DIYing.
And, oh my goodness, Snapchat, all of it. I'm just like, Lord. I mean, uh, eventually we're gonna get to the point to where it's just gonna be one app. Like everything gonna be just one big app.
One big
And,
app.
yeah, one
Wow.
big app. I mean, and I don't know if I'm ready for that, but
Well, I
yeah,
mean,
Wow.
I'm trying to get on the TikTok train. I'm trying. I'm trying.
it's
Full
okay.
dis-
Honestly, in my opinion, it's okay if you like you don't. Like obviously these platforms are really useful, right? Like IG is
Right.
extremely useful monetarily, right? But I
Mm-hmm.
remember I was talking to somebody in my internship when I was back in college, and they were like talking about how they use social media. And like they
Mm-hmm.
just use it for a working tool. They were like a writer on a TV show. And like they just
Mm-hmm.
use it as a tool, right? They use it to post things that are like related to their business or related to their art form, and then they're gone. Like they don't linger on social media. They don't see who's going to like their stuff. They don't look at the analytics. They have someone who looks at that,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So like I feel like that's honestly, I feel like people like you are like something that we need in this day and
Yeah.
because
Like
you're like,
I would love to. I can't wait to have a person that's worried about analytics and like listen, you worry about all of that. When I post out, we'll make sure I initial like my name on it or something. But please don't. I don't want to post nothing like
I want
because
to look.
like
No,
social media is tough work. Like people got full-time jobs on this. So like, you know, trying to make sure I try to make sure it's aesthetically pleasing, and I got to make sure like I had to get good with my iPhone camera because I refuse to go out and buy one of these $2,000 camera. I refuse to do that, and
likewise.
so I'm iPhoning it to the max. Okay, so you know, figuring that stuff out to you know using lights and stuff like it's just it's so much. It really is so much, and like but to get back almost to your point about the independent versus the label side, the label cuts a lot of that in half. Like if you don't want to do something, the label will do it for you. I mean, they got teams of people to do it. They might charge you extra, but I mean, if you don't have to worry about like, so I mean, basically, you could sit on your couch, go to the studio, sit on your couch, go to the studio, release a project, hopefully make the company a lot of money, and then go back and do it all again. You can go on vacation for 8 months if you want to. Like, if you don't want to do anything, you can do that. And so being an independent, you don't have that luxury at all. Like you don't have like you have no room for error, no like margin for like, I mean, you have margin for error because I mean you can always mess stuff up, but like you can't really be lazy. Like you can't afford to be lazy, literally. Like you can't afford to be like, man, I do it tomorrow. There's like, I mean, because we know how tomorrow turns into the next day, into the next day.
Next day and
So
the next
like,
day, next day.
yeah, exactly right. So like, I mean, as an independent, you can't be lazy. Like that's why like there's different levels to being like people that's independent as well. I mean, you can see it like when you go to shows or when you interacting with people and stuff like you still got people that still do it the old school way, which is nothing, not to knock them, but still people handing out the CDs or slinging out of the car and stuff like that. That's all, that's the OG entrepreneurial, what I'm saying, wave right there to like, like me, like just me, for an example, I have a manager, I have a team that kind of helps me with press. We do all these different, we in Facebook groups, we in this, we in that, of course, we on all social platforms and just me learning about all this different stuff and all the different endeavors we doing and stuff like that. Like, I mean, that is a web of stuff, you know what I'm saying? And that's just music. We just talking music. Like, also, like, all of my merch I do. So, like, I have to worry about, like, clothes and stuff like that. Like, if I'm doing, certain merch for certain singles that I drop or whatever. So, like, Concern had its own, like, little merch drop or whatever. And I had, like, 2 or 3 designs for, for that, whatever. Like, I came up with all those designs. So I had to figure out, like, how to work these different designs and stuff like that and how to put stuff together, what looks good, what don't look good. So like all of that costs money, all of that costs time. It costs everything. So like, yeah, you can't be lazy as an independent, like compared to like somebody that's on a label. Of course not.
Well, let me ask you this because I'm curious about this too. Like, as an independent artist, like we talk about like having all these hats and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel this sort of pressure that comes with being an independent creator to consistently create content? Like we
Yes.
talk about social media.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
yes.
I hear that a lot myself. Like I was talking to an artist the other day. They're saying like, the game is so crazy on social media. Everybody's dropping stuff every single day just to keep up.
Mm-hmm.
You have to
Mm-hmm.
push your creative limits to consistently
Mm-hmm.
come up with content, and it leads to like just complete burnout. Do you feel like that?
Yeah, because I would say burnout is the word because I haven't posted anything in probably about a week, probably a little under a week, something like that. When I got it going, I can post every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause I have pictures that, I took, did a little photo shoot for or something, or I just dropped a single. Like most of my content is based around me dropping singles. That's why I really don't post a lot because I've been dropping singles and, you got to kind of give it time to breathe and work on marketing and stuff like that. So my kind of social media has been kind of sporadic until I can kind of get my I'm still trying to find a groove as to like my release schedule and like when to release and stuff like that. But so kind of working through all that. But it's definitely challenging because you don't want to, I mean, I'm not really the one that's going to be dropping songs every day. Could I? Yeah, probably. I write enough to do that, but I'm not going to do that because people will get tired of you. I mean, you do want to let people breathe a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not dropping music every day, but like you don't want to also post pictures of you every day. Like you don't want to just be like it's basically just a gallery of you. You know what I'm saying? So like people really don't care to see that. I mean, but you also can't post stuff that's just so off the wall that and people like that do know you like that ain't you at all. Like I mean, like what are you doing? Mm-hmm. So like you kind of have to keep it all in perspective, and I mean like you have to post worthy content. I mean, because like these people is clever with these cameras. These that like I mean, they got little corners and like they little basement or something and it looks like a full studio and stuff like that. Like, so that's another thing where education comes from. You can kind of learn some of this stuff. It'll take a long time, but I mean, eventually you can do it yourself, I guess. But
It's
yeah,
all
just
angles
keeping
and
up with
lighting.
yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, for sure. But I mean, just yeah, just keeping up with, and I mean, and I'm just talking about IG because that's where I usually reside. Is IG. But like, I'm trying to figure out like, I go Twitter for news. That's what I do. Like, if I need to see something real quick, I go to Twitter. I know it's gonna hit Twitter first. You know what I'm saying? Like, it hit Twitter first for you see it on CNN by now. You know what I'm saying? So like, if I need something, I go to Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to figure out where to get my footing in on Twitter because like it's not really a great way to like grow as far as an artist. Twitter is not made for that. Twitter is like real quick. Like it's real quick. Like, you out there, you out there, you out there. So I'm, I guess if you tweet, every 5 minutes, then I guess you can start to get some fun. I ain't got time for that. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, so I, trying to figure out like now I use like a scheduler, so I try to schedule content ahead of time so I can kind of free up some space and stuff like that. But you still gotta have the content to post. Like I dropped Concern like about a month ago up now, and I posted a lot of. I mean, I posted just about every day for it. But a month after, like, I mean, yeah, I'm still posting it, but I still can't be hitting you across the face with it every day. I mean, you done seen it for a month. You know what I'm saying? So like now I'm on like, what's the next step? Like what's next? Like, I'm already like planning like my schedule as far as like my next single, so I can already try to start making content like a few months ahead of time and different stuff like that. So keeping up in the content stream is hard because especially like they say you don't want to post the exact same thing on every platform and stuff, so now you got to do double the work basically to if I'm posting on Instagram and Facebook, I don't necessarily want my Instagram to look like Facebook and vice versa. So now I'm trying to do a different pose this way instead of this way.
Right.
And I'm trying to do, so like you now you trying to figure it out on the fly. Now you wasting a lot of time doing all this stuff because
Right.
half the pictures gonna suck anyway. So like it's just a whole bunch of stuff that's like
a lot.
thrown
I
in
will
there that
say
like
though, I really like the creative content you put out there as far as album covers, single covers, like what
yeah.
you have put out is really great. And I think that this conversation is great advice
Mm-hmm.
for anybody who is an independent artist and hasn't really learned the ways of how to use social media as a tool. And I
Yeah,
feel like
because
you,
especially if you don't like it. I
yeah.
mean, because I mean, now there's some people that just love it, and I mean that's who it's for.
Mhm.
But for me, I use mostly Instagram, but I would say the reason why I use it. I mean, of course, am I gonna get on there and scroll every once in a while? Yeah, of course. And at this point, we kind of machines. At this point, you get lost in the stream, but.
Mhm.
Um, but most of the time I'm reading DMs to see who, because most of the time people are either trying to send me beats or it might be any of the sponsorship deals and stuff that I've done have usually come through DMs on Instagram.
Mhm.
Um, most of the time it's producers with beats, a lot of spam. But like just that's how I use it. It's like basically it's like a marketplace for me. Like
Mhm.
because I use like I don't know who else rather use BeatStars, but I use a lot of BeatStars. So like, but a lot of the producers and stuff on BeatStars I meet on Instagram.
Mm.
Like that's how I found them to begin with. Because I'm not going to sit on BeatStars. BeatStars is basically social media for musicians, and you can get to scrolling and doing the same stuff you're doing on Instagram. I'm not going to do that. So, people that hit me up and stuff, and they like, hey man, check out my beats, or whatever. Okay, cool. I'll go check you out. And that's kind of how I work. And so
Mhm.
basically that's how I use it is like that's my way to find beats. That's my way to kind of navigate, and that's my way to market. Because
Right.
of course I'm doing Facebook ads and Instagram ads and all this different type stuff. So basically it's just a marketplace and a marketing machine for me.
So
I,
I have, or Nick, go ahead.
I want to say one more thing though, like just to because I do want to get onto your music though, like specifically,
Mm-hmm.
like, but I wanted to kind of round off this discussion by echoing something that Shay said. So like this is useful for independent artists, because what I'm
Mm-hmm.
hearing, just listening, like to sum it up, is that social media is a tool, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a tool that can be really detrimental to your mental health. It's something that can be detrimental to you if you let it be detrimental
Mm-hmm.
to you,
Mm-hmm.
like, but it can be used as a way to connect with people, as a way to help yourself, as a way to be business minded,
Mm-hmm.
even as an independent artist when you have to be on it all the time. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what
Business minded without having to have a degree or a label, perhaps, because social
Right.
media is accessible. It's easy to learn. It's easy to
And that's the one good thing about, I guess, the one very positive about the music business in general is that you don't need a degree. You don't need to have all these
yeah.
different accolades and stuff like that. A lot of people getting deals just by somebody in a label saying, "Hey, I think that's good." Like, I
Hmm.
mean, you don't have to do all this extra where it's like, and I mean, I did the school route. I went to school, and did some of the music classes and stuff.
Mhm.
I've learned way more sitting right here in front of my computer than I have in any of those classes. Because when you're in class, you ain't paying attention anyway. Even if it's something that you want to be, you just thinking about, man, what am I gonna eat when I get out of here? So like I'm in class like on my phone looking up stuff that I probably could be learning from him, but I'm learning it faster through Google. You know what I'm saying? So like it's a bunch to it, that a lot of people won't tell you, but it's like being an independent, you got to be a master at finding the life hacks and finding the different stuff that can get you there a little faster because the people on labels and people with the money, they already have a huge head start. So you might as well start trying to eat up a little bit of ground as much as you can, by doing all the little stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um, well, definitely noted. Noted, noted,
Yeah.
noted.
Yeah,
Uh
that's a life. That's a life. That's not even just like a music business. That's like you could use that in life. Like I mean, do a lot of the little stuff and catch up ground that you feel like you need to make if you don't feel like you are where you are. I mean,
right.
You know what? 50 Cent said the same thing too. I'm just thinking about this right now because he was talking about, and I don't know if this was his book or an article or an interview or something that he did, but like he was talking about how he had been like working with artists and how he felt like some artists were kind of insecure to sit at the table with these label heads and these
mm-hmm,
execs because they didn't have a degree, like they didn't have
mm-hmm,
the formal education that we're kind of taught that we need. But then
right,
50 Cent, like always told them like you just need to make sure that you know your stuff when you come to that
right,
table.
Hmm.
There's
right,
no reason for you to feel insecure, and there's no reason for you to get
right,
cheated and get cheated out of like some weird wording in a contract if
right,
you know what you're talking about, if you know what you.
right.
So yeah, I just
Yeah, I mean, and it's very true too, because I've always like thought about like I've been in rooms with like different execs and stuff like that, and I've kind of done it, and I mean it is a nerve-wracking experience. I mean, it's because you looking at them like they got bank on their forehead, you know what I'm saying? Like so like especially as an artist, I mean like because at the end of the day we all want to make money. I mean you ain't getting around that. We love doing this for free, but we would love to do it for a lot of money. So like at the end of the day, that's kind of how the label is the bank, like I said. So like basically when you go in those rooms, it's nerve-wracking, but like knowing your stuff really does help. I mean, and you don't have to do it by yourself. I mean, there's lawyers and all this different type stuff that will be to kind of help guide you and stuff like that. But I always think of it as what would I do if I walked in the room and Jay-Z was in there?
good way to think about it.
I mean, and honestly, I've thought about this a lot. I'm not gonna lie, I've thought about it a whole lot because I feel like I'm gonna be doing that. Like speaking into existence type stuff. But anyway, so I always think, what would happen when I walk in the room? Like, I would be talking myself into act like you've been here before, basically. Like, I would be like, don't go in there and kiss Jay-Z's, you know what? Like, don't go in there and fangirl out. Don't like, you know what I'm saying? Like act, because he's thinking business. You already know what he's thinking. Like, I mean, he got more important. I mean, Beyonce, his wife, he could be on vacation somewhere. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like, he ain't thinking about you like that. Like, he thinking about numbers. He thinking about, okay, what can we do? Yada, yada, yada. I need to go in there exactly the same. Because if I go in there with this nervous kid energy and all this stuff, like, I mean, people feel that. People gonna see that, like, and they can see right through that too. So like, they gonna be like, okay, why is he so nervous? Like, why is he, they gonna be asking, they might not tell you that, or they might not show that, but they'll be thinking like, oh, he real nervous. We finna get him on the end because he don't look like, we just said a word and he made we seen question marks in eyeballs. We gonna write this in the contract. He ain't gonna know what's happened. And then, they make all this money and they're like, man, I ain't made $1 in 3 years. And you like, well, what happened? And then the label like, well, see, right here in the contract, it say that we get, this, and this. And
perception is reality. I think
and you'll get smart real quick. I promise you. Like that'll make you real smart because you'll be reading every book imaginable trying to figure out how to get out of it. So it's best to do it while you're ahead.
Right.
Also, read everything you sign every
Exactly.
time, whether it's with a label or not. That's just like a life tip right there.
Yeah, I mean, now all of us are guilty of like, you get a new phone and you get all that jargon. You ain't finna sit there and read the whole contract. I mean,
Okay, all right. No, you got me there. You got me there. You
ain't gonna sit there. You're not gonna sit there and tell me you read that whole thing. There's no way.
All right, but it's when it's about life decisions.
Yes, exactly right. When you sign in, like when it's got to do with, okay, if it's got anything to do with money, because I mean, whether it's coming to you or going away from you, you better know why, and those words in there. Yeah, for sure.
All right, T4, let's focus in. We're coming to the end of our interview, and we have a few questions that I want to make sure that we ask.
It's all good. I ain't got nothing but time today.
Well, we'll stay on afterwards and chat. So your most recent release, Concern, new hit single. I'm just kidding. It's how do you feel after having that come out?
It's all right. It's not a song that I really put. It was almost a filler song in a way. Like, I mean, I knew it was coming out, and it was, I knew the vibe was gonna be good. It matches the times right now of everybody being in everybody's business all the time. And basically that's what the song is about. So it really was a blessing in disguise being, putting it out, when I did. But it's almost just one of those songs where like, okay, here's the vibe. And I just kind of want to gauge where it's at basically. Cause I have different goals for different releases. I mean, everybody has like their favorite song and stuff like that. But I try to be as strategic as possible when I'm releasing what type of sounds that I'm releasing. Like, so like, especially now that we're getting kind of close to the summer, like I want my vibe to match that. And it will, here in the future, because I got some stuff coming up. But just trying to be as strategic as possible and stuff. So, I mean, I'm pleased at where I'm at. Trying to get it to more eardrums, of course, but it's picking up steam. It's hitting playlists, like you said. It's the numbers are kind of going up every day, so I can't really complain about that. So hopefully it continues to kind of roll for me.
Is there a song in your discography that like you really, really feel represents you as an artist?
I don't know if there's one song, but because the reason why I do music the way that I do it, so like, I rap, I do some EDM stuff, I do pop stuff, I do like, since I'm everywhere, like I try to spread myself everywhere. So like, I don't necessarily try to focus in on one song, although I will say a song that I'm writing currently right now is probably the most emotional song I've ever written in my life, because I usually rehearse it as I'm writing it. Like that's just like kind of my thing. And so I've written probably about 60% of the song. I can't get through the song about 15% of it without starting crying. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's like how emotional it is. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, that might be it. You know what I'm saying? Like that one might be the one that like, cause that song, you will learn a lot about why I am, how I am, and different stuff like that. So maybe it's the song that I haven't written yet, but I try to spread it all out, like, because people usually like people when people meet me, they don't know. I guess I throw them off because like my personality is different from kind of how I spit bars or how I my music or my content in my music or something like that. Um, and that's just because music for me is almost like my split personality almost.
Mm.
Like my music is where I'm most comfortable, where I'm most not humble, where I'm most like confident, where I'm most all that stuff. Like that's where, music is the person that I strive to be is my artist self. You know what I'm saying? But like when I'm not in front of the mic or when I'm not on stage or something, like I'm an introvert. Like I said, I stay at home for the most part, which that's why COVID didn't bother me. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. I'm like, man, we get to stay home. That's it. Like, oh man, I love this. So like, I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm kind of antisocial. Like, I don't have a lot of friends. And like, when I go out and stuff like that, I'm usually solo. So like, when people, the other day, somebody saw me, it's like, they was like 2-4. I'm like, yeah, what's up? I was like, what's up? Like, so like, it's like one of those things where like, I'm not what people expect from hearing my music, because I talk about a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm raw, real, and uncut in my music. Like I don't care because, and I think it's kind of almost how I came up is that like I was pretty sheltered, you know what I'm saying, couldn't have people at the house and different types of stuff. But it's also like schools that I went to were more upper class white people basically. So like I've experienced so much that like I try to filter all of that within all the music that I do. So whether it's the EDM or the any of the albums that I do, like I try to be a melting pot. You know what I'm saying? When I'm doing my music, and so I would say I probably haven't written it yet, but there's a little bit. Like if you listen to a song close enough, you'd be like, "Oh, I learned that. I didn't know that about you." Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Spread out
yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah. Or like, some people like some of my like more sexier type like, R&B cuts and stuff like that. Some people like, I didn't know you was that nasty. I was like, listen, like let's not like, you know what I'm saying? Like different stuff like it's like, look, like don't be judging me now off of my songs. You know what I'm saying? But like just anything, you know what I'm saying? Like some of my
that says cultural resetter.
Yeah, that's right. Like, I mean, I just like music is like a part of me, but it's not like necessarily like the face that I put on. You know what I'm saying? Like when I wake up, I'm like, I always tell people all the time, like, I'm just a regular dude that just so happens to rap. I'm not like this like super like duper like thing, like, but then like people also be like, well, what happens like when you do get a deal or something, you get a lot of money and stuff. It's like I'm gonna be the same dude. Now I might be driving a Lambo and might have on a diamond bracelet, but I mean I'm still gonna be the same dude. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna be wearing that diamond bracelet for myself because I'm gonna be on the couch because like I like being at home. You know what I'm saying? Like so like it's I think a lot of like all of that stuff is just me. You know what I'm saying? That's just
Right.
me
Because you're
being
authentic, 2-4. Like to me, you seem like authentic, but then also on the musical and like artistry side, you're versatile as well. And like I want to say too, like to anybody who's watching who's an artist, like having versatility is something that needs to be embraced. And like Shay and I, like we talk to artists about this all the time. Like it's something to be completely embraced. Like you don't have to put yourself into a box and everything like that. But I think for you 2-4 in particular, like it's a symbol of your authenticity because you strike me as somebody who's had a variety of experiences. You come from a lot of different like places, a lot of different like environments, and like you channel all of that into your music. So it's really your authentic self being reflected.
And I try to capture that emotion. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That because I mean there are some songs that are more like some songs I write just because I got a club vibe. I'm just feeling that, or like
And it's still you.
yeah. And I mean I would consider myself more of a songwriter than a rapper, but rapping is just the way that I express my songwriting, basically.
Right.
So like
Low key
right. Yeah. So like right this second, like the emotional song that I'm telling you about, like it's the first time I've ever tried to write a country song. It's a country song, basically. And so like being from, I mean, and I mean, I'm from Nashville. That's really the reason why I'm doing it. It's like, I'm from Nashville. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna 2-4 rise it all the way to the max. But like, I like the experiment, and I think that's why music is kind of in the quote unquote rut that it's in. It's like people are scared to experiment like with stuff. Like people are scared to fail. You know what I'm saying? Basically, because like I mean, I get it when you don't, especially these people on these labels, they got a lot on the line. Like you know what I'm saying? Like they got to produce, and so it's just one of those things to where I mean, I always like all my like issues as far as like anxiety and depression and self-esteem issues and all this different type stuff. Like I don't necessarily like that's me, but like my artist self is telling you the person that I'm trying to get to. You know what I'm saying? Like that, like, cause that's where I'm most comfortable. So like where I want to be is where I'm most comfortable. You know what I'm saying? So like that's like what like that my music self, my like artist name, title, logo, all that's like a wall for me, basically. Like me as a person is like in there somewhere, and like I'm slowly but trickling like, okay, here's that emotion over there, here's that emotion over there, here's that sound over there. And like until I get to, I mean, it's like a life journey within myself. Like basically my music is a window for you to see how I'm evolving my life and how I'm going about different things and, trying to talk about different things and try different stuff. Cause the artists that I like the most and the artists that I listen to try everything. Like Lil Wayne is my favorite rapper in the discussion ever. Okay. My favorite rapper ever. But like, I mean, everybody, of course, he had his run and now he's kind of tapered off a little bit. I mean, we get it. He's been in the game 25 years. I mean, he's still all right, So, but kind of shifting back to when he dropped his rock album, like to me, that was some of his most impressive work because wasn't nobody doing that at the time. Like what, and like now after that came like, a couple songs, people trying to do different type stuff. You might have heard one or two songs that had like some rock tones in there, something like that, or they might have tried to sample something, but like wasn't nobody really trying nothing. And so I think that's kind of where we at now. Like people are scared to like try stuff. Whereas like this country song might suck, but I mean, I don't care. Like I'm still gonna try it. Like I'm still gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? Cause like if that might be the song that gets you over the hump. That might be the song that gets you to where you're trying to get to. I mean, okay, it's a country song. Oh, hey, guess what? I rap too. I mean, let's do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like right now, actually, I'm writing a movie as well. Okay, I do that too. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like,
wait, are you actually?
Actually, I am. I'm writing a limited series right now, actually.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I enjoy doing like I'm a very creative person. Like I love creative things to the maximum. So like
no kidding.
Like I really can't draw that well, but sometimes I can get out a sketch pad and just start drawing. You know what I'm saying? Like I just anything like I love going to art crawls. I love art. I love music. I love art in all of its forms. And so I try to dabble in as much, as the stuff that I enjoy. And so I've kind of had the idea to kind of write a movie / limited series for a while. So I just now started to, kind of get into it. So that's what I'm working on right now. But
so to round things out, then this was a good.
Yeah.
So do you have any other upcoming projects you'd like to share or something you'd like to plug before we wrap up?
Let's see what I can tell you. So, of course, Concern is rocking, of course, right now. So, of course, please check that out and stream it if you like. I would say there is a huge something, but where we're planning to have a huge something come in July. Put it this way, if that works out 20% of how we feel like it's going to work out, things are going to get interesting. Real interesting. Like,
okay. Like, we're looking forward.
All right. Well,
I really don't want. I don't want to put that out there because then I'm, it's kind of bad juju. But it's like we could be doing something. Like if it does half of what we think it's gonna do, yeah, it would get real interesting. And we already kind of have a plan. I mean, a plan and backup plan for if that does work out or if it doesn't work out. So, I mean, there are projects, like I have a few projects set up, you know, to come down the pipeline. But this next one though is one that we have been gearing up. We've probably been talking about it now for probably about 3 or 4 months now. And I just got it recorded a couple months ago. I still got to get it mixed and mastered and all that stuff, but we're looking to release it in early July.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I mean,
I'm excited to see what it is, because like,
I mean, because like this one, like, because a lot of times I don't get to like full videos and like go fully max. Like this will, I can tell you this. This will be the single that I have put the most behind ever. Like, so if anybody has liked any of my music like before and stuff like that, like this one we are planning to do like exponentially bigger. Like we're talking like potentially seeing your boy on billboards and different stuff. Like it's like for real. Like it's huge. So you know, we hope, you know, that's right. Hoping and praying. You know, I'm not necessarily
for sure.
Yeah, I'm not giving out the name of it and all that stuff yet, but that'll be coming over the next coming weeks. I can say that I am probably going to get it. It'll probably be finished and ready here in the next probably couple weeks. And so, you know, because I wanted to get it ready and go ahead and I'm trying to go ahead and get it to all these different people. And, you know, I'm really like we were talking about TikTok earlier. I'm hoping I need TikTok to come through for you, boy. Like, I like.
All right, at our TikTokers.
That's right. Like, I need TikTok to come
Let's
through
see
for you,
some
boy.
dances.
And it's gonna be obvious. Like, it's not gonna be one of those songs where like you're gonna have to like do 100. Like, you'll figure it out. Like, it'll be obvious. So
okay, well,
keep an eye out for that for sure.
For sure.
Let's say that's a wrap.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! All right. Well, thank you so much to all of our cultural resetters. This has been another artist interview, and we'll see you next week.
All right.
Bye.
Bye,